Hey guys! Today I want to do a book review on something that is extremely not near and dear to my heart. This book is called Picking Bones from Ash by Marie Mutsuki Mockett. And this book is awesome because I wouldn't care if it caught on fire and I never saw it again. Basically, I would give this book 2 out of 5 stars. This is going to be a bad book review, so alright, let's get started. Basically, I got this book in a dollar store for, you guessed it, only $1. And I was attracted to it because of the title, Picking Bones from Ash, which I knew to be a Japanese fiction novel because Japanese people culturally, when someone dies, they have them cremated and then they take chopsticks and pick out their Adam's apple, also known as an atlas, and put that in a box and bury that. And so yeah, that's part of their death ritual celebration. So I was drawn to it, but then I was like, I really hate this cover. This is horrible. I don't know. Something about it I just don't like. So for the rest of this review, I'm going to pretend that that does not exist and make it just a plain black book. So I picked this up because it was only $1, and I also wanted to be able to like highlight it and write notes in it because I was expecting to really like it. As you can see by the first page here, there's not a lot of text on there, but I highlighted half of it. I was really engaged in the first page. And so let me just tell you a little bit about the plot. Basically, it's like a three-generational novel set in Japan and also France and the United States, and there's kind of like lots of travel around there. There's Satomi, who is a Japanese girl who grows up with her mom, and she doesn't have very much of a father figure. And they have a life together where it's kind of whimsical but kind of like depressing at the same time, and they try to make this relationship work, but the mother is really pushing Satomi to become a talented musician, and so she kind of like guides Satomi's life to, you know, become something really great, and that puts a lot of pressure on Satomi. And then a lot of things happen, and then eventually Satomi has a daughter named Rumi, and we go into her perspective. And Rumi grew up without her mother, Satomi, and so she has a big influence from her dad, and she doesn't have a lot of direction in her life. She doesn't have a domineering mother presence telling her what she should be, and so she kind of is floundering around, and she feels like she needs to go on this quest to Japan to find out more about her mom. So, you know, when I say the plot like that, it actually sounds exciting. But, unfortunately, this book was not exciting at all. The first 170 pages actually were super boring, and it took me way too long to read this because I couldn't get into it. I found the characters to be really flat. I didn't really identify with anybody, and you know, it's supposed to be set in Japan, which I find really interesting, but I just, you know, not really that great. There were a couple sentences here and there where I highlighted it and I was like, oh, that's a cool way to describe cherry blossom trees. But, you know, one cool sentence every 50 pages or so is not enough to keep me going. So at about halfway, I decided to almost like give up on the novel, and that's when it got interesting. I actually put a post-it note right here in blue at page 170, right when I was going to give up, it actually got interesting. And I'm not going to spoil it for you because although I wouldn't recommend this book to you, you might read it anyway, which I would hope you wouldn't do after watching this video, but anyways, to each their own, I guess. But that's when it got interesting and exciting, and it was a page turner, and I was like, I need to know what happens next, and the 3 next chapters were so exciting, and I was just like, go, 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 and then we just got bogged down in crap again, and it wasn't exciting, and you know, the characters started to almost become like not like themselves, and that's one of my biggest pet peeves, is when characters like are completely different right at the end. I've watched so many TV show finales where the characters just go off on completely different directions and end up with people you didn't want them to, and you're just like, what are you doing? You just want to shake them. You're like, you know, you were this way completely the whole time, and then now you're completely different. Like, that just pisses me off. So I found that part to be really excruciating, and even though I wasn't really invested in any of the characters, I mean, I at least wanted them to stay consistent throughout the novel. So, what else can I say about this book? Other than the fact that I just want to like throw it away and never talk about it again. Oh yeah, I wanted to say that I have mentioned this before, but I have 2 great loves in my life. One is Japan, and one is Victorian era, like period pieces and dramas and stuff. So for reading material, I usually gravitate towards the classics, like Charles Dickens, Jane Austen. You know, I really love Jane Eyre. That book is awesome. So when I'm reading, I tend to go for more of the Victorian era kind of stuff, and I love that. It's so romantic and engaging and everything. And then I kind of shy away from Japanese literature for some reason, and I think it's because I expect the act of reading Japanese literature to be so draining, because I would have to be so engaged in every single sentence, because that's how I am with anything Japanese related. I just, you know, have to press my face so close to the screen or the page or whatever to like soak it all in, because I find it to be so fascinating. I just want to immerse myself in it. So I feel like if I were to read like a Haruki Murakami novel, or you know, something like that, that I would just, it would just be so perfect and beautiful and amazing that it would just take a lot out of me. So I tend to shy away from that and go the Victorian route anyway. But I was hoping to start on a Japanese fiction kind of journey with this book, and it let me down. I know a lot about Japan because of my hobby in my spare time of researching the culture and watching Japanese dramas and learning the language and everything. So I feel like I have a pretty intermediate knowledge about Japan, and this book just has a very basic, like, here are the main things you should know if you're going to write a story about Japan. I feel like the author is, she's half Japanese, half American, but I feel like she doesn't really have as much of a grasp on Japan as I do, which sounds like really egotistical for me as an American person to say, but there's just no heart or passion behind any of the ways that she's describing supposedly her homeland. So I found that to be incredibly disappointing as well. And let's see. So lastly, I just want to read that first highlighted page for you to see why you can, for you to see why I was so hooked and why I fell so disappointed and out of love with this book, because none of it is as cool as this first page. So here we go. My mother always told me that there is only one way a woman can be truly safe in this world, and that is to be fiercely, inarguably, and masterfully talented. This is different than being intelligent or even educated. The latter, she insisted, could get a girl into trouble, convincing her that she has the same power as men. Certainly, the biggest mistake a woman could make was to rely on her beauty. Such a woman is destined to grow old and ugly very quickly, because she is so much more disappointed by what she sees in the mirror than someone who is busy. "But when you are talented," she whispered to me late at night as we lay in our futons, "you are special. You will have troubles, but they won't be any of the ordinary ones." I loved that passage. I thought it was really cool, a great way to start a novel. I was interested, and everything after that, besides like maybe 1 or 2 chapters in the middle, lame. So, that's my book review for Picking Bones from Ash. I really hope you don't read it. It's a great way to end this video, but I really hope you don't, because I want everyone to experience engaging and exciting literature, and I don't want you to waste your time on something that's going to make you make a bad book review video, or just make you want to burn a book. Like, that's horrible. So I guess I just want to say here's to hoping that I have more great books in my career as a reader, and that I don't have to be bogged down by crappy ones. So I hope you have an awesome night. I will see you later. Bye.